Convert her? I don't want to. I'm not in the business to convert anybody. Really,
I'm good.
I'm not in the business to convert anybody. If like what I say makes you think about things more and like changes your mind on stuff, then like that's a great thing. But I don't really care if people. I don't really care about converting people.
Actually, no. We need to do one more segment. Okay, we need to do one more segment. All right, and the reason we want to do this one segment, okay, is because. All right, this is the only way I can communicate this, okay? Leaflit released 2 hours ago a video called "The Snow Mexicans Are Coming." Let's do it, okay? Since Leaflit got brought up, let's cover Leaflit, okay? Since Leaflit got brought up, let's take a look at Leaflit, okay? Let's take a look at this one. The snow Mexicans are coming, okay? Let's take a look.
20,000 migrants just entered America as Canada border opens.
A self-proclaimed smuggler says the world's longest border, which separates the U.S. from Canada, offers more than...
All right. Already right off the bat, this is a TikTok, I think, an Instagram story. So like already off, see, we're matching hats, okay? See, Leaflit and I are matching hats, all right? So already right off the bat, we have a TikTok story, okay? So nice journalism integrity or whatever, not journalistic integrity, but like, you know, maybe it's more exaggerated than you think it is, okay? But let's keep that in mind. Maybe Leaflit comes to extremely sane solutions or sane views on or sane opinions on such a thing, okay?
5,500 miles of opportunity.
So as the...
What? They're... What?
The U.S. southern border continues to see mass troop deployments from both the U.S. and Mexico. Those wishing to illegally enter our country need a new way in. And it appears gangs and smugglers are finding paths through the frozen rivers, fields, and...
What the fuck, Canada? It's okay, guys. We're gonna build another wall. This time, Canada's gonna pay for it.
And mountains along the largest land border in the world, which not only has zero border wall, but is also now being exploited by criminals advertising on TikTok, of all places.
Please, just read AP News, okay? It's not hard, all right? You just open your browser, all right? You go to AP News, or you read up from any kind of reputable source, okay? Any reputable source. You don't even need to go to a political commentator. Go to Fox News even, all right? Because it's even better when you go to Fox News, even though they have a more right-wing bias. Because how do you know this is true? How do you know this is credible? Are you going to do any research in this video? Because I better see some research. Right? This seems like a really extreme claim. This seems like something that you should be doing research on, no?
The request for a smuggler starts on the black market, but it's also easy to find one using social media platforms.
There were nearly 24,000 illegal crossings along the U.S.-Canada border between October 2023 and September 2024. The bulk of them...
See, I know it's credible when somebody puts trap remixes in the background, okay? The moment somebody puts trap remixes in the background, that's how I know it's credible, okay? I just instantly figure it out. I just go like, that's truth. That's facts right there, okay? The moment somebody puts like Trap City, boom, that's it.
Along this small stretch between Ontario, Quebec, and 3 U.S. states.
Over the Mexican border, we've encountered about 500 people on the terror watch list. On the northern border, Canada and the United States, it's 1,000. So we have a huge problem here.
A member of Sinaloa claims the price for each person is $3,000. He keeps $1,000, the cartel gets $500, and the rest covers the trip.
Enforcement Directorate says that it has uncovered a massive criminal network that spans across continents. It consists, they say, of thousands of agents.
Here's the deal, okay? I don't actually mind people watching commentators and reacting to them and making content out of it. Whatever. Okay, no big deal. But if the only people you're watching are like this kind of trap music, trap remix, kind of conservative pundit, obvious bait, you know, maybe they're right, maybe they're telling the truth, but can you verify what they're saying? Can you verify whether or not this is true? Why is it that I never see this on other news sources, including Fox News, right? Like, maybe I missed it. Maybe, who knows? Who knows? Maybe I missed it, okay? Maybe, you know, it didn't appear on my feed somehow for whatever reason.
And their modus operandi has been to get Indians across to Canada on student visas. Now, these students would never attend the colleges they were supposed to and would then illegally cross over into the U.S.
In response, the Canadian government has increased border security, committing more than $1 billion to deploy helicopters, drones, and Royal Canadian Mounted Police on the ground.
Canada. Thank you. But do better.
So this is real.
Guys, I can't believe Canada is sending Mexicans over the border. I can't believe Canada is sending these bad hombre Latinos over the border. Oh, Lord.
Criminals are using TikTok to show people how easily they can cross the U.S.-Canada
Right, snow Mexicans. Right, okay.
border.
Wait, because that just implies... Oh, God. And people say I'm racist. All right, okay.
Oh,
and what
my
nobody's
goodness.
talking about is that as the U.S. southern border continues to lock down,
God.
all of the criminals down there are just going to switch borders and come up north instead. And as they do this, they're luring people into their criminal networks with videos like these that successfully show them bringing people into America, walking across sometimes frozen.
You know what? To be honest, though, Texas is probably like, finally. Now you guys can know what we were talking about the entire time.
In rivers, streams, fields, and mountainous terrain. Conditions which are the polar opposite of those at the U.S.-Mexico border, which is now on lockdown, due to mass deployments of active duty U.S. troops. But although the Canadian border remains open by comparison, crossing it is not only difficult, but also very expensive. Because to get to Canada, you've got to pay money to fly there, and then to illegally enter America, you've got to give more money to the same gangs and criminals who are already working the U.S.-Mexico.
Is there any evidence? Like, is there any credible sources? Please? Just even one? Give me one credible source, any reputable news source, take your pick. Who knows who could be the lucky winner here? Okay, AP News, Fox News, CNN, MSNBC, Reuters, right? BBC, Big Black Cock. All right.
That's right. The same criminals down south are also up north. And over the past 4 years, they've been finding secret entry points along the 5,500 miles connecting the U.S. and Canada. Entry points America and its newly motivated border partner are desperately trying to track down and close. Which brings us to the real reason that hasn't happened yet and why northern border crossings are still going on. There's just too much space between the U.S. and Canada to lock down completely. Plus, critics say Canada's efforts reveal they aren't as serious about stopping.
Guys, I have a perfect solution for this. We make Canada a state, and then we control the whole thing. God bless America, and no place else.
Illegal immigration, as America is, and are only now spending money on their border because of the looming threat of tariffs, a threat proponents say is necessary to stop the flow.
That's from a movie. Which movie? What movie is that from again? That's from a movie, right? God bless America and no place else. Where is that? Where is that from? I remember hearing that somewhere.
Of unknown criminals and dangerous individuals who are literally just walking across.
No, it wasn't the White House. It was hold on. Who said that? God bless America and no place else. Oh, it was, yeah, you're right, it was. You're right, it was the Chris Rock movie.
Guarded border, like.
It was that movie. That's amazing.
This.
Hard to say how many people actually have come across. And they've caught 13,000.
You said it was a bad idea, and they would. Yeah. I'm memeing. I'm just joking. Mikichi, I'm just joking.
That's what the Border Patrol have apprehended. You have no control over it. You don't know who these people are.
The goal for criminals.
See how easy that was, guys? How easy was that? I was just joking. It was a joke, an out of character joke.
Is
so
for
easy.
that
Not
to
easy.
start
It's so
happening
easy.
more and more often. Because with crossings down 95% at the southern border from a year ago, the northern border is the only option left. And even though the millions who've illegally crossed the US-Mexico border greatly outnumber the 23,000 encounters we've had along the northern border, as you're about to see, the people coming in from Canada's side are much more dangerous.
You know what? Dude, usually I hate doing this because I think that content creators should do their own research. But we can, fine, we can do the research on behalf of Leaflit, okay? But there are illegal crossings in Canada. Well, there's always going to be illegal crossings, technically, okay? At least one. Is there... It's so funny how, you know, the assumption here is like, oh, people actually want to get to the US. No. The recent... Are the recent border crossings in... to US? Yes, there are recent border crossings from Canada to the US, although numbers have recently decreased to pandemic-era levels. US Customs and Border Protection data indicates a significant drop in crossings compared to previous years. Crossings from Canada into the US have fallen to their lowest level since 2023, with a recent drop of 460,000 fewer travelers in a month. And that's just the legal ones. And that's just the legal ones. Are the recent illegal border crossings. Okay. All right, this is funny. I can't find anything, guys. Guys, I'm beginning to think what Leaflit is looking at is misinformation. Okay, I'm beginning to think it's misinformation. I can't find anything. Uh-oh. Yes, there are still illegal border crossings. How many are there? The Canadian government says its recent measures have driven down the number of unauthorized crossings into the United States. About 600 migrants were intercepted at the border in January, down from about 900 in January 2024. Oh, wow. Oh, this is horrible. Oh, wow. Now, for people that might think 600 is a lot of people, 400 is a lot of people, or whatever, okay? We're talking about how many compared to Mexico? There are an estimated 500,000 illegal entries into the United States each year. Okay, so let's take a look. There are an estimated 500,000 illegal entries into the United States each year. Here it is. Okay, now let's take a look at this. Okay, let's take a look. How many illegal border crossings in 2024, okay, because we don't have a year worth of data yet, right? From Canada, okay. Okay, there were over 23,000 arrests for illegal crossings at the northern border with Canada in 2024. So that's recent history, okay? All right, so let's get out our handy dandy calculator, okay? Right here. So if we were to do 23,000 over How many are there? 500,000. Okay, 500. Ah! Wow, that's a lot of people. Oh, wow. This is a travesty, guys. 4%. 4%. 4%. All right. So is this 5%, 4%? There's this great influx of people coming in. Wow, that's crazy.
Dangerous.
In the last 4 years, over the Mexican border, we've been.
I mean,
and how many of these are cocaine bears? Okay.
True, because like, let's be real, they must have higher stats because they're coming through like.
True. We have to guys, we have to build a wall. We have to make Canada pay for the wall to prevent that horrible 5% coming through, okay?
The frozen wasteland, and that's always the higher level area. Unless you play a dwarf. But usually it's the higher level area. It's usually like end game content in the snow. So if they're coming through the snow, they're already higher level than the ones from the south.
Counted about 500 people on the terror watch list. On the northern border, Canada and the United States, it's 1,000. So
that's crazy. So last year, the southern border had 10 times the number of encounters as the northern border overall. But the people coming across the northern border were 2 times as likely to be on some sort of government watch list. And of course, this is a huge problem, but it makes sense when you realize just how unguarded and neglected.
Oh, guys, I don't know if I can actually fact check every single crazy claim that is made throughout this video. I just don't think I can do it. I don't think hold on. Fuck it. You know what? We're gonna do it, okay? Because we have to, somebody has to be the responsible ones, okay? How many Canadian illegal crossers are on a watch list? In 2023, CBP officials... Okay, that's 2023. That's not 24. That's 23. Okay, so we... Oh, guys. We literally only have information, I think, on 2023 for the watch list claim. There's no information on 2024, but the person in the video is claiming the information is from 24, right? Am I wrong? So what? That's 2-0? 2-0 for misinformation now? Yeah, that's like 2-0 for misinformation.
Selected the largest land border in the world is. You've got 5,500 miles of terrain with no wall. And although the conditions can be incredibly dangerous during the wintertime, that means nothing to the most dangerous people in the world.
They should just release more bears, I think. It's kind of like, you know how like when there's a problem with some kind of issue, you usually like release like some kind of predator into the area that like helps control that. If we released more bears, it would help control that as well. It would control the border a little bit better.
Only have
and dire wolves, yeah, dire wolves. We should get on that with dire wolves.
One mission in mind.
In fact, like you could take it a step further and do dire bears as well.
But if these people are this dangerous, how is it that they're able to get on a plane and fly into Canada to begin with?
Canada's immigration system is so lax, they're not looking into them. And when the Canadian government's own audit, Canadian government says, of the people our security services flagged, Canada let in 50% of them. So it's not a good deal up there, man.
That right there sets up 2 very frightening aspects to this story. But in order to understand what those are, you've got to realize most Americans, myself included.
I left for a bit. Okay, you're not going to believe this, Silver King, okay? This VTuber noticed my video on them. This VTuber noticed my video on them. So now we gotta cover another video. That's what we have to do. All right?
Wrongfully have had this idea that Canada's just like our country, only colder, which is completely false. And they've got an immigration and security system totally different than ours. And for years, they've let people into their country from places the U.S. is watching close.
Well, see, the problem is Canada... Okay, so The problem with this is Canada is going to have to fix this. Otherwise, we're going to close our border to Canada. It's going to be very similar to how it is in Mexico, and it's going to be a lot harder to like.
I think Canada is okay with that. I think that if you close your borders to Canada, I think they're okay with that. But American businessmen are not going to be okay with it because they probably have to do business meetings in Canada. Yeah. With the hat? I don't think they care. Yeah, I don't think Canada cares. I don't think Canada would care, no.
Get across, which is going to be really bad for, I guess, citizens from both countries, because right now we're kind of like the border, the north border is kind of like whatever, like people don't really give a shit. But people are going to take it a lot more seriously if like this is the case, and that's bad for it's honestly probably more bad for Canada than it is for the United States. Probably. I just thought of that right now. I don't know why. Just my gut feeling is that it's going to be worse for Canada than it is for the United States.
And those people who are...
I could look into it later, but that's what I think. I feel that.
Are incredibly unpredictable and dangerous. They're also...
See, that's okay. All right? It's okay to say, I'm going to look into it later. But there's so many ridiculous claims. Ridiculous claims in the misinformation video that she is watching right now, that she is just taking at face value, even though they literally played... Like, is there something about playing a trap remix at the beginning of the video as a hook that makes you assume everything they say in the video is true because it just confirms all of your preconceived biases?
So the folks advertising on TikTok to...
You know, I'm beginning to think that Leaflit's, research sessions with her mom are all fucking watching trap remix intro videos of like this one, okay? Please don't tell me it's like that, all right? Please don't tell me.
Attract new clients. For gang-related smuggling activities, most people in America have no idea even exist.
A self-proclaimed smuggler says the world's longest border, which separates the U.S. from Canada, offers more than 5,500 miles of opportunity. The cartel has been one of Mexico's largest crime groups since the 1980s. Javi, a member of Sinaloa, claims the price for each person is $3,000.
So these are the guys out there using apps like TikTok to make these videos that show off how they sneak people into America through the Canadian border. And they claim to be working for one of the largest cartels in Mexico, Sinaloa. And apparently they've got videos like this where they show off how easy it is to do what they do because of Canada's lax immigration laws. But here's the thing, these videos invariably attract a higher end of clients than they'd find down south, because people who've got internet access and the ability to afford a plane ticket, they're going to have more money to pay smugglers and gangs than those who don't. But now the question is, how did we get to a place where the same...
Wait, how are you going to say true on all of these things, but then you don't question the economic efficacy of what is being implied here? How are all the gangs... How are all the gangs somehow finding it cheaper and easier to do things across the Canadian border? You have to move, like, how would that work? Would gangs move a bunch of cocaine up to Canada and then transfer it down to the US? Or is there a bunch of gangs that are doing like some kind of like Navy, some kind of along the Californian border, along the Californian coastline, along the Oregon, Washington, West coastline to get all of that stuff to Canada? Is there like gangs like sneaking across the US like Swiper the Fox from Dora, like going across the mountains and the hills in the middle of the US to get there? Are they going through the East Coast? Or is it just easier to find a way across the Mexico border? Or is it just simply easier way to find a way across the Mexico border? Like, it doesn't even make any sense. How does it work? Give me the rundown. If I was a gangster in Mexico and I wanted to sell drugs in America, give me how to transfer the drugs. You're doing a U-turn. Like you get it to Canada, you're doing a U-turn. Like, how does it work? How does it work? How does any of this work? Okay, listen, getting into Canada is actually super hard if you're going from Mexico to Canada. I trust Silver King because he's a Mexican. Okay, that's enough. All right, yes. I just don't get it. I don't understand. Leaflit, please, you're so smart. Leaflit, you're so smart. Please explain it for me, please.
Cartels that were running the southern border are now also running the northern border as well.
One of the reasons is when Trudeau came in, he suspended visas for Mexicans. You can come in without a visa to Canada. You can't come into the United States without a visa from Mexico. So what did the cartels do? They flew in, they set up shop. Hey,
well, easy.
Yeah, what? It's wrong. What do you mean, what? What is correct? Just don't assume it's right.
What you should do is just make the border even harder on the north, basically. I guess that is harder though because never mind. That is harder because there's more land. There's more land.
Much easier.
That's crazy. Canada essentially opened its doors to Mexico where there are known criminals who might try to exploit their border, and they did it without any requirements whatsoever.
Canada, what the fuck? What the fuck? We had a deal.
Now, this has changed. About a year ago, Canada started requiring visas for people from Mexico. But experts say it may already be too late, as there's already a critical mass of criminals in their country.
Bears. Bears is the only solution. More bears.
Here we have
we need to get the ones from
Okay, that's enough. Okay, I think I've seen enough. All right, like, am I wrong to say this is every single Leaflit video? No wonder this is evil Foodshops. They just never do any research. Evil Foodshops is just Foodshops, but doesn't do any research. That's the crux of it. Okay, it's just me that doesn't do any research. All right, but VTuber. Okay, that's it. That's it. Okay. No research. That's it. Most Mexican that have gone to Canada have done so as asylum, which is like a whole ass process, months of waiting, PPRK money, etc. They're just flat out wrong. There's nothing that's right here. There's just, you know what? You know, we can, you know, when in doubt, we can always ask, guys, we can always turn to our Lord and Savior, Grok. Okay, Grok, my Lord and Savior. Let's fucking go. Okay, all right, like, give me a second. All right, Grok. Is there a crisis of illegal immigrants over the Canada-US border? The situation at the Canada-US border regarding illegal immigration is complex. It depends on how one defines crisis. Here's a breakdown based on available data and perspectives. Legal crossings from Canada into the US have increased in recent years, but remain significantly lower than at the US-Mexico border. Okay, wait. How much worse is the Canada-US illegal border crossings? Wait, how much worse is the Mexico-US illegal border crossings than versus the Canada-US border? Okay. Ah, I see Fox News. Nice. Ask it crime-wise? I don't know. We'll see. We'll see. What do you mean by crime-wise, though? Wait, Grok? Hello? Grok? Brain fart? Oh, it's probably doing calculations or something. Right? Right? Hello? Grok? Are you okay? Oh. Illegal border crossings at the US-Mexico border are significantly higher, both in absolute numbers and relative impact. So, because I remember a claim from the Leaflit video saying that people from the watch list are more commonly gonna be found among the US-Canada border, okay? But here we have Grok saying, by Elon Musk, by the way, by saying both in absolute numbers and relative impact, okay? Not except relative impact, not but about the relative impact. It's and relative impact, meaning it probably pertains to per capita, okay, per population, per percentage. Well, they appear to be talking mostly crime. Yeah. In fiscal year, recorded about 199,000 encounters with only 10,000 arrests. Crossings have risen, but 2025 data shows a decline. So even from the video's claim of it being recent, it's not even true, right? Yeah. Encounters down 85% from June to December 2024. Northern crossings often involve asylum seekers, which is true, Mexicans and Indians using Canada's visa policies, but the volume is lower and risks like harsh weather. So it's not zero, right? Smuggling exists, but it's less intense than Southern cartels. So it's not zero. Nothing is ever zero. There will always be at least one. It's like saying, is there at least one cheater in this college? True, right? At every single college, there's at least one cheater on their tests. But how many cheaters at certain colleges? Well, now it's going to vary very wildly, right? Ultimately puts a strain on their health systems and housing. More Mexican leave to Canada from the United States seeking asylum, etc. More Mexican leave to Canada from the United States seeking asylum. That makes more sense, because if you made that claim, that would make more sense, right? Well, like, fuck me, dude. I don't even know anymore.